Hi, thanks for coming to my channel today. This is Mira. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. So today, I'm just trying to start with something funny first. So I found this book. I told you last video that my son liked to make a joke. So I thought I'm gonna have a joke for him too. So I found this book and I got it for him. What fruit teases people a lot? So you can go ahead and think about it first, and in the middle of the video, I'll talk about the review, the answer. I thought it's fun. So if you know the answer, go and write it down. So I'm going to talk about today the fall savings and holiday saving ideas, fall saving ideas. And I thought it would be easier to categorize into 3 categories. Number 1 is for personal, number 2 is for household, and number 3 is for the seasonal. So number 1 is for personal. So I think when we're going to the winter season, right, colder season of the year, so we want to make sure as a personal for ourselves and for the individual household members, our family members, including pet, make sure that we have a warm clothes, sweaters, or boots, or jackets, or all the stuff that we will need ourselves to accessory, glove and hat and earmuff and everything to cover ourselves, scarf, making sure that we're all warm it up and cozy it up so we won't get snow bites. So that is a personal. Make sure that we have budget for those numbers. Sometimes people usually forget it and go ahead to the store and just spend a bunch of money, and then later on realize that, the money broke and it's not good. So I want to make sure that you plan for it every year. I say like each person, I would just usually put it on like $50, $75, depends on the person. And for our household is that me and my husband and my son is a human, and our pet, Romeo, is a huge dog. So we usually never don't usually have to buy too much of it for the boots or for the sweater, because we are not getting bigger and bigger in terms of growing, because we're already adult. But for our son, it's like, because if you have a children and kids, then you might want to plan for it. Depends on each person what they need. Usually they need jacket and boots and stuff like that, and gloves. They're growing. Another person thing is to make sure we have food and like drinks, drinks like I'm talking about water mostly for us. Make sure it depends on what country you live in or what state you live in. Make sure you have a clean water for you to drink during the winter time. At least plan for it accordingly. Personal, it could have a prescription if you need a refill or the vitamins that you will need it. Make sure that you don't have to go into the emergency picking up the cough drop or something like that. So that would be the personal stuff. And now I'm gonna go to household. So I used to work with the Southern Hemisphere and people in the world. So that way their winter is not our winter time, So our winter time is not their winter time. So if you're watching from the Southern Hemisphere, you obviously can use this video beneficial for in a few months later, 6 months later. So you might want to keep in mind on that. So make a list about it and get ready for it for your winter time. So I'm gonna start with the cold season, colder country part of the United States, and then warmer part of the United States. So colder part of the United States, you will need the kind of like Minnesota or Chicago or even Missouri, stuff like that. It's like Wisconsin, right? So you will need make sure you have a snowblower or shovels, or make sure everything is ready for the season, right? So I'm gonna start with cold weather part of the country first. So you need to make sure that you have start with something simple first. For example, when the leaves are fall down, it's easy to say, oh, it's okay, but they cost money. Either you spending yourself time, you pick it up, or either you hire somebody, right? If you're spending yourself time, then it costs you money, whatever you're doing it, whatever you're not doing it, right? So you got to plan for that. And also, if you hire somebody to pick up the leaf, and it's gonna usually cost, in the past where I used to live, it's about $45 and become $55 and $65 and $75. It can become getting higher and higher. And I think it might be more expensive than it was. So pay attention to that money and make sure you budget wisely on that area. And also when you pick up the leaves, then you also need to have a yard waste bags, right? Unless you have a free bags everywhere, that's totally cool. If not, then I usually buy from Menard, which is the kind of store that you get a rebate. So it's like most cheaper place I can find. So I kind of get it from there. And then they have a good quality bags too. So I put all the leaves in there. I used to do that, but then it took me forever for me to do this. So I ended up hiring a person to save my time. I can do something else for my work and family stuff. And I usually do it like twice a year. So in the past, and then I start doing like October when it start falling down. And I realized that I had to be smarter than that. So I waited until at the beginning of November, first week and the second week I did it, and then it's kind of take care of all the leaves. So you have to want to budget on that. Make sure that always remind yourself in the Google Calendar. If you use it, it saves you a bunch of brain damage. So next one is tree trimming. So I think tree trimming is like whether you live in cold weather or the warm weather. I think if you need to trim the tree, I think it's usually a good idea. But I think especially in the Midwest where I used to live, it's just like kind of the tree like growing and kind of hitting the house and stuff. You want to cut it off so it won't stop attaching quickly, hurting your house, you know, in the snowstorms and stuff like that. And also like pay attention to the tree roots. Like they go and damage the sewage thing. So it used to damage our sewage. So then we have to pay someone every year, like once a year. It costs $100, and then they take care of it, so we don't have to spend a bunch of money and yucky stuff later on. It's like really bad. So that is there. And next one is like make sure that clean the gutter. Gutter cleaning is like really important because when you clean the gutter, it creates the less problem in the long run. I hired a gutter guy. It cost me $125. It's a great reliable person. You can search him from the next door on the computer. Search who's the gutter guy that people recommend. And then they usually come up with good people, and you can choose and price-wise and see which one is the best personality and match with the budget-wise too. Next one is for the heater and gas. So how the heater and gas work is like, you don't want to turn on your heater when it's frozen outside, right? You want to start the heater and gas running and clean it up and make sure the service is gonna be on and make sure everything's working out first. Starting on like maybe like at the beginning of October, you start test it out. Better yet in end of September, making sure that they are gonna work fine for you in, you know, beginning of November or maybe end of October. Depends on what country, what part of the country you live in. It can be cold faster and cold later. So you want to make sure all of them are prepared. Sometimes it costs you nothing. Sometimes it costs you $100. Sometimes it costs you $600 to $800, $1,000. Depends on how much you need to take care of it and how old the house is and all the things included. So factor in, do the research and plan on it well. Now I'm gonna go to the warmer weather area like Florida where we are living right now. It's like for example, like number one is like make sure that the hurricanes windows and the roof are all like taken care of well. If you can afford a hurricane window, that's great. If you cannot, then make sure that you take care of your windows well in different other ways. Trying to see what other neighbors do, like, you know, you can example it and mimic it. So whether you live in cold weather or warm weather, it doesn't matter. What important thing you definitely need to have it for the winter weather or even hot weather. It's like any weather, it's like you need to have a generator if you can afford to it. It is a great investment to have it. So we saved up for it and we bought the generator. And I definitely suggest to buy the good one and good quality and a brand new one if you can do it. I usually go away with all the used one, but for the generator and some of the stuff, I usually like to buy the brand new stuff. And so you need to have a generator. Make sure that you know where to store them correctly, and you need to make sure what to fill it in, like the gas, right? The fuel. You need to have enough fuel for the generator. For example, like I usually have a gas can, like, you know, 5-gallon gas can in the so that we fill it in, like 2 or 3 of them standing by in whenever we need it. And I usually generate them. Like I test run it, not me. I ask my husband to test run it. So my husband Jeff go test run it, and a few times a year, like, you know, we kind of calendar it on the Google, and it remind us like every 3 or 4 months that we just like test it out and make sure all the things are good and everything is perfect, you know. And then make sure that those gas are, because like it will be extra and getting old, so we usually put it in our car and fill it in, and then we get new fuels like here now and then, so that way we ended up getting the fresh one at all time in you know, at our homes. Also, you can do like a kerosene gas can too, or the propane gas too, because it can be handy. Depends on what country or what part of the world you live in. So when the gas are running out, propane and kerosene can be helpful. Kerosene can be useful for the heater. we bought one time and we didn't end up using it because we moved over here. But if you are the kerosene user, then it can be helpful to keep it standby for yourself. And propane is for the barbecue, I think mostly. So like when we used to have a barbecue machine, we use that. So if anything shut down in the house, then you can cook it outside, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of saves and peace of mind. So now I'm gonna go to the season. This is like a fun stuff. So like Halloween, in October we have a Halloween and fall festivals, and like November we have a fall festivals, and December is like Christmas, and also New Year Eve and New Year coming in, right? So New Year is technically not the fall seasons or fall saving ideas, but this is more like a holidays, and it's usually heavy money costing, depends on how people like to spend, you know. So it's kind of like deep hole, like you can spend as much as you can and you can save as much as you can too. So I'm on the other side later on. I like to save as much as I can because, hey, you can have fun with less money too. So I usually think about like pets and human as human. Like number one I think about is that there are a lot of candy involved, right? A lot of dessert involved, which is great, and like be careful about it. So I make a scary saving videos. Go and check it out. I'll link it here for you. It's not really scary. It's just kind of scary saving ideas. I make a joke about it. So if you haven't watched it, go and check it out there. It's kind of a little bit unique design. I make a video at the golf course area while my son is playing golf or learning golf. So you can save money in candy if you go to events and stuff like this, right? Make sure that costumes and decorations you can reuse it as much as you can. If you can, that would be awesome, right? And if you're going to event tickets, make sure that you can like kind of pre-register it or pay for it ahead of it. It usually, sometimes it saves money, sometimes it does not, depends on the event. So make sure you pay attention to it. So buy the generic items instead of this particular event super specific. You know, you don't, I'm not saying you cannot buy it. Yes, you can buy it. Of course, that's your money. But I'm just saying like, if you if you're smart and if you're like wise on it, you can choose more generic things than super specific some, and more generic more. Then it would, so you can use it the whole of the year. So it could be Halloween things, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and, you know, New Year Eve, stuff like this, you know. And so I'm gonna go to Thanksgiving. So I watch these shows, like it's an old shows, but since I wasn't born in the United States, I don't know too much about it in this country. Even though I'm living here a decade, I still learning new things here every day, right? So like there's a show called Everybody Loves Raymond. It's like super funny. It's a super old show, and one of the lady, like she trying to eat healthy, so she make that tofu turkey, and it's kind of super funny. I'm not saying you have to make tofu turkey, you know, if you want. If you make it, then let me know how does it taste. So then tofu, so you got to have a food price, you know, food budget, right? You need to have like a decoration budget, and you need to have like a gas budget. So if you're driving to somewhere else to see somewhere other family, it usually costs you money because of the gas prices are high. You know, you may make sure that, you know, on the way and coming back. Or if you're staying there, then how are you staying in their houses or are you staying in the hotel? Make sure that you calculate all the budgets that in your numbers, you know, in your monthly budget. Or do you already save it already? Do you have a sinking funds for those things? Make sure you take care of it. I think I'm gonna plan to make a sinking funds for this kind of stuff later on, but right now I'm just giving you as a kind of like reminder list. And then now I'm gonna go to like Christmas. Like Christmas is like pretty much the same thing. Make sure you calculate it for gas. Usually people travel a lot. It could be like airplane ticket, you know, airplane tickets are quite expensive nowadays. For the gift, it's like make sure that, you know, you need to have a gift bags or bowls or like gift wrapping papers and everything, right? So you need to consider all these things. Or also photo, if you're selling it, and mailing card, it costs usually expensive, and stamps too. If you are taking family photos, make sure you have a family photo budget too. If you're taking professional photos, they're more expensive. What we usually do is like, I don't usually go to taking family photo professionally anymore. We kind of do it like, not anymore. Like what we do is like a family photos, like in the past we do it like almost every year. But I think we start doing like not every year, like every other years, professionally thinking. But mostly we do it like when you go to events, like they usually give you like, oh, do you want to take a family pictures with the reindeer, like a head banner and like, you know, moose ears or whatever. You just like do it some fun things, and I usually put in the stickers on the refrigerator, and then voila, you know, you have a family picture anyway. So, but if you are a person like who, if you're a person like who is sending to your friends and families, you know, in the other places, you need to make sure that you calculated all the envelopes and stamps and mailing costs and everything. You make sure that all the things are included too, so that way you don't end up getting broke. Consider for the budget for the gift for each person, to whoever you're giving to. Are you donating? How much you're donating? Which organizations you donating? Do you have a foundation of yourself? Whatever that you're doing, make sure that you budget for it, so that way in December you don't have to be like big giant headache and see like, oh my God, what did I done? You know. So don't ever go there. It's not worth it. Pay attention to it. I have been there because I usually do that, a lot of gifting, and then ended up with like whoa, right? Thousands of dollars I spent. So I was like, no way. So I definitely don't do it again anymore because it was too much for me. The answer for the question, what fruit teases people a lot, is, are you ready? A banana. And that's really funny. So I think like, you know, I hope that you learn something nice from this video, and it's definitely gonna help you keep motivated and getting ready for the Christmas and Thanksgivings and Halloweens and fall festivals and all the stuff. So enjoy and have fun, and eat a lot of healthy food, eat a lot of green vegetables, and eat a lot of fruits, and drink lots of water, so that way you'll be hydrated and you'll be like, you know, super strong that nothing can take you out of it. So I will see you in next video. Thanks.